When you start up your Mac, you get to the desktop. And at the same time, you got an application called the Finder that is always running on the Mac. We'll talk about the Finder later, but sufficient to say at this point that the Finder is meant to help you find your files on the computer. Now, what you're seeing right now on the screen, at the very top, it's called a menu bar. When you pull down from the different options, you get the different menus that get stretched down below. At the very bottom, we have something called the dock. The dock is a kind of like a convenient way to organize the most accessed applications, files, and folders. Now, the space in between the dock and the menu bar at the top, it's called the desktop. And right now, I've got an empty desktop. I do have an image that's always there, but for the most part, it's empty because there's nothing on top of the image. The concept of the desktop in macOS, it's similar to the concept of a physical desk in your office. The physical desk in your office is a space where you get to work with different files and with different pens and telephones and all sorts of things on your own desk. It's kind of like the same idea over here. I'll give you an example. If I click on the little Finder icon down in the dock, up comes a Finder window. As you can see, the Finder window is floating on top of the desktop. So the desktop, again, it's my physical space where I can manage multiple things on top of it. I'll give you another example. Let me go in at the very top to the File pull-down menu and create a new Finder window. So now I've got two Finder windows that at this point, they represent the exact same thing. But the important thing is that both of them are floating on top of the desktop. And I can manage them by simply moving them around on the desktop. Now, to make things more interesting, the desktop that we get to see in the background, it's also a folder. Now, this may be confusing at the beginning, but let me see if I can explain it. Just close the windows, clicking on the little red dots. And in this case, let me create a new folder on the desktop. So as you can see, I got a brand new folder. It's called Untitled. Let me just give it a name. Some folder. And check this out. I'm going to go down to the dock, click on the little Finder window. So we get this same window again. And this time, I'm going to double click on my desktop folder. And as you can see, the desktop folder contains the same folder that we get to see over here. So what we're looking at is at the desktop in two different ways. One, it's looking at the contents of the desktop, which is just organized by folders and files. And the other way, if I close this window, it's by having this sort of, again, physical representation of a physical desk, where I've got my flat area, and on top of it, I've got my folders and my files and my windows that I'm working on.